Hello and welcome back, everyone, to our 9-month Ultimate World Cruise adventure. And today we're continuing our trip up the west coast of Africa, and we're going to Takoradi, Ghana.
Welcome to Living Phase 2.
Hi, I'm Mike,
And I'm Nancy, and we're empty nesters striving to live life to the
and
fullest.
we're living that full life aboard Royal Caribbean's 9-month Ultimate World Cruise on Serenade of the
We
Seas.
sure are. Well, friends, it is now days 178 to 180, and we are in Takoradi, Ghana here. And today we are going to be going with a private guide
Mm-hmm.
to learn more about the slave trade. We're going to visit what they call slave castles.
Right, there's over 40 of these castles along the Gold Coast
Mm-hmm.
here. That's the west coast of Africa. And it's going to be a little bit of a difficult day, but I think it's an important day, and it's one that I think, learned a lot
We did.
about the history and what has happened here, for hundreds of years. So we met our guide, Joseph. I'd been communicating with him for quite some time as soon as we knew that our ship had been rerouted here to West Africa.
And he was just a private guide that you
Yes.
found on the internet that
Right.
has his own tour company.
Right. He has his own, and we did that, and he was great,
Mm-hmm.
very communicative. Again, pro tip: WhatsApp. So many guides, people can communicate through WhatsApp, and he was always very responsive in getting things set
And
up.
had great reviews.
And not only that, he was very flexible because our cruise
Yes.
ship has been rerouted multiple times. In fact, the
Mm-hmm.
days we were going to be there changed, the times have changed.
Mm-hmm.
So he continuously was updating the tour, the
Uh-huh.
times we were meeting, and everything. Well, we got off the ship, and he was right there waiting for us.
Yeah, very, very pleasant man, and things are starting out much better than our
Then in
previous
Angola.
day.
So if you didn't
Yes.
see that, or where we felt like we were almost kidnapped in Angola, you can go back and take a look at that video. But yeah, he was right there. The van was there. He had his driver, and we got on, and there were 8 of us on this tour. Again,
Mm-hmm.
it was a private tour with just us and our friends. And we took off, and we're driving down the pier. He met us right outside the ship, and then the first thing happened.
Oh, I know. We hadn't even gotten off the pier, and we had a flat tire. I was like, oh my goodness. But
We're thinking, oh no, not Angola again.
no, yeah, the thoughts were going through our head. However, he had a working jack, he had a proper spare, and that tire was changed in 10 minutes flat. I was
Yeah.
actually very impressed with that.
Yeah, they did a good job. And then
Maybe he had practice.
yeah, I think they did. There's a lot of tire shops in Ghana, it
There
seems,
are.
but and we got going, and then we were on our way. Well,
Hmm.
because our tour times, our import times had changed, they actually tightened up quite a bit. Our all aboard time was 2:30, so we
Early.
told Joseph we had to be back at 2, and he said, "Okay, I understand," and we adjusted the tour, so we couldn't see a lot, but what we did go to see was probably the 2 most important sites here in Ghana, and honestly, a couple of the most important sites in all of West Africa. And the first was the St. George's Castle. And this castle was built specifically for the slave trade. And so that's what it was used for. It was used to house, hold, and transport and trade slaves to the ships that would come in to take them across the ocean to the Americas. Brazil was actually the number one receiver of slaves, with, I think they said, 39% of all the slaves went specifically to Brazil. And then, of course, the Carolinas, Americas, different states went
Right.
in there as well.
So the castle is a United Nations World Heritage Site. The significance of it is to really
Hmm.
show the slave trade that was going on, and oh my goodness, it was,
Horrific.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, horrific is about the best word to describe it. It was
Hmm.
also very educational, but extremely sad
Hmm.
to see the dungeons and how they were treated while they were in this holding area
Hmm.
before they got shipped off.
Yeah, one of the things we said to each other as we were both going on the tour, and then our group sitting together reflecting later over dinner, we just said, how could one human treat another human the
I
way these were? So
Yeah.
it was very difficult, and sometimes, you go to tour to open your eyes, right? You
Right.
you go to learn, you go to grow, and I think that's really what today was about. Not going to a beach and and having a fun time sun and in the sun. Which, by the way, Ghana has some beautiful beaches and things. They have a national forest. They have these things that you can go see.
Mhm.
But today was all about, I think, growing and learning.
Right, right.
Yeah,
It was. That's
yeah.
a good way to just to describe
Right. So
it.
we did have a guide that took us through a docent that took us through the
Mhm.
castle, and she was very good, gave us an excellent
Mhm.
history. And then after we were done there, we actually went to a second castle. Now, originally we were supposed to go to the national park. They have some canopy walks you can
Mhm.
do, but we just did not have time with the
Right.
all aboard time being 2:30. Joseph was adjusting the time and he said, really, the only thing we have time for is to go to the second castle, which we did go, is the Cape Coast Castle.
Mhm.
It was about another 30 minutes down the road. But one of the interesting things was the fish market that was right outside.
And the fish market was really there's hundreds and hundreds of boats and the trading of
Hmm.
the fish that was going on right outside of what they called the door of no return at this
Hmm.
second castle.
Hmm.
We'd stepped outside that door and you could see all of the fish market and
Hmm.
trading going on, and
Hmm.
that was interesting. But as far as the castle goes, it was really very similar to
Similar
the first
story,
castle.
similar
Right. So
experience.
not a lot of really anything different to tell you or to share with you. Again, it was
Hmm.
just extremely sad and
Hmm.
heartbreaking
Hmm.
that human beings were treated this way.
Yeah. So an important lesson. One of the things we said as we had this experience, and again, as we were reflecting with our friends, was it reminded us very, very much of the National Holocaust Museum or the
Right.
Holocaust Museum in Israel, in Jerusalem. It's a very, the similar
Hmm.
emotional experience. Let's
Yeah.
say the horrific
Yeah.
things that one human can do to another, and again, a very difficult. But while we were finished up with our day, we were actually supposed to have lunch, but again, because of the tight schedule, Joseph
Hmm.
adjusted and he got our lunch to go,
He did.
and we sat on the bus and we had a traditional Gahanian, I think is what you say,
It's
lunch.
called Red
Red
Red.
red, and it's a broken rice dish. So they kind of
Hmm.
smash the rice a little bit. Has a red sauce, a little bit of chicken, some beans, and I thought it was very good. It was really good. Yeah. Well, we also got a couple bottles of beer, but then things went a little awry with that.
Things did, and I
Yeah.
didn't have beer, by the way. But
No.
yes,
Yeah.
things did go
That's right.
awry
Kind of
with the beer.
trying to open one bottle with another, and it kind of sprayed a little bit. But that
Yeah,
was maybe a little laugh or a little joy after the heaviness of
that's
today.
right.
And
That's
and
right.
and Joseph took us back, and we had said earlier we wanted to be back at 2, and I think we were back at the port at like 2:03 or something. I
Yeah,
mean,
he
he was
was
right on
very
time.
timely, so
Yeah,
that
he did a
was
good job.
a
We got
good
back
guide.
on board, and it was a good experience, but a difficult experience.
It was. It
Yeah.
was.
Well,
Would you go back to Ghana, Mike?
probably not. It's again, this gets into, it's a very long way to come over to West Africa. When we felt trapped in Angola, we started looking at, well, gosh, if we don't get back to the ship, how do we get to Takoradi? How do we get to the ship's
Hmm.
next stop? And just to get to Takoradi is like a 29-hour trip. And we've got so many wonderful places that we've come across now that I think, our bucket is overflowing of bucket list items. And so I think it would just, I think we saw Takoradi. I think we saw
I
what's there.
certainly saw enough.
Hmm.
Yes, I don't. Even if we could come back here, I don't know that I'd
Yeah.
necessarily want to come back here.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
well, we've got a couple of sea days now. A
Hmm.
couple of nice, relaxing sea days. Although we did do something very interesting, or you did in particular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hosted a bourbon tasting on board
Yeah.
the ship. This is one of those benefits of being on a world cruise versus some, a 7-day cruise or something. The ship kind of helped us set it up. We brought our friends in, and since I'm a certified bourbon steward, we just tasted some of the bourbons that they have on board the ship, and we just spent about 3 hours and just laughed and had a good
I
time.
did.
And yeah.
I heard such lovely comments about people learned so much from you about bourbon, and everyone just had such a good time. You made it very good. But the ship also did a fabulous job. They made beautiful charcuterie boards to go
Mm-hmm.
with the bourbon,
Mm-hmm.
it was
It
just
was a lot of fun.
nicely done. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a
it
lot
was
of
held
fun.
at the chef's table,
Mm-hmm.
so it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was. Well, that's the end of our experience here in Takoradi, Ghana, and tomorrow we're going to Dakar, Senegal, a place that I only knew through some people that I've worked with. I've known some people from Senegal, and they've been wonderful. So it'll be interesting to see. And we're going to go to Gorée Island, one of the most famous locations actually
Yeah.
on in West Africa,
Yeah.
and take a full city tour with a private guide. And it was a good experience. This one.
Yes, but you'll have to wait and see it. All right, friends. Have a beautiful day. We'll see you very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Take care. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.